Take your hands out your uniform too, sir.
Good morning, everyone.
Buenos días a todos.
This is your first appearance hearing before the Magistrate Court of Clayton County.
Esta audiencia es su comparecencia inicial en el Tribunal Menor de Primera Instancia del Condado de Clayton.
My name is Brad Gardner, and I am a judge in this court.
Yo soy el juez Brad Gardner, un juez en ese tribunal.
I am not here to conduct a trial of your case or to take a plea in your case.
No estoy aquí para llevar a cabo un juicio, en su caso tampoco para aceptar una declaración a acusaciones.
I am here to inform you of the charges that have been filed against you,
Estoy aquí para informarle de las acusaciones formuladas en su contra,
to advise you of certain rights,
para informarle de ciertos derechos que tiene,
to set bail on those offenses that I am authorized to set bail,
para fijarle fianza, imponerle fianza para las acusaciones las cuales tengo la autorización de hacerlo,
to schedule a preliminary hearing, and to determine whether you require the assistance of an attorney.
para programar su audiencia preliminar y también para determinar si requiere el asesoramiento de un abogado.
You have the right to remain silent and say nothing.
Ustedes tienen el derecho a permanecer callados sin decir nada.
But should you give up this right, anything you say during this proceeding may be used against you.
Pero si eligen renunciar a ese derecho, cualquier cosa que digan se puede tomar en su contra en cualquier audiencia posterior.
So please don't discuss the facts of your case.
Así que por favor no hable de los detalles de su caso.
During this and all other proceedings, you have the following rights.
En esta diligencia y cualquier ulterior tiene los siguientes derechos.
The right to the presumption of innocence,
El derecho a ser presuntos inocentes.
the right to indictment by a grand jury for most felonies or by accusation for misdemeanors,
El derecho a que le acusen formalmente el jurado de indagación o que proceden en su contra con una acusación general cuando se trata de delitos menores.
the right to a speedy and public trial by jury,
El derecho a un juicio público y sin demora ante un jurado.
the right to see, hear, and question witnesses who are called to testify against you,
El derecho a ver, escuchar y a interrogar los testigos convocados a declarar en su contra.
the right to compel, the right to compel the attendance of witnesses to testify on your behalf,
El derecho de obligar que comparezcan testigos para que declaren a su favor.
the right to testify on your own behalf or offer evidence in your own defense,
El derecho de presentar testimonio en su propia defensa o presentar pruebas a su favor.
the right to have an attorney represent you.
El derecho a un abogado que lo represente.
If you cannot afford an attorney, one can be appointed to represent you if you qualify.
Y si no puede pagar a un abogado, si cumple los requisitos, se le puede designar uno de oficio.
Some of you will be allowed to post unrestricted bonds for your release from jail.
Algunos de ustedes serán permitidos depositar fianzas sin restricciones para salir provisionalmente de la cárcel.
These bonds may be cash, commercial, or property.
Se puede tramitar la fianza depositando efectivo, poniendo de garantía una propiedad o tramitándola a través de una compañía de fianzas.
If you post a cash bond, someone will deliver the full amount of the bond and fees in cash to the sheriff's office.
Si va a depositar su fianza en efectivo, alguien tendría que entregar el total a la fianza en efectivo, más los recargos administrativos a la oficina del sheriff.
The sheriff's office will hold the cash and return it at the end of the case.
La oficina del sheriff guardará los fondos, los cuales devolverá a la persona que lo pagó después de que se concluya el caso.
If you use a commercial bonding company, someone will have to pay a fee to the company for their service.
Si utiliza una compañía comercial de fianzas, alguien tendría que pagarle una tarifa a la compañía para sus servicios.
The fee will not be returned.
Esa tarifa de servicio no se le devuelve a la persona que lo pagó.
I don't know what fee will be charged, but it is usually based upon a percentage of the bond.
Yo no sé cuál es la tarifa que van a cobrar. Normalmente se basa en un porcentaje de la fianza total.
Finally, if you use property to post your bond, the property will need to have a net equity at least 3 times the total bond.
Al último, si va a utilizar un inmueble para su garantía de fianza, ese inmueble tiene que contar con un patrimonio neto de 3 veces lo que es el valor de la fianza.
Some of you will have special conditions on your bond that prohibit you from contacting certain people or going to certain places.
Algunos de ustedes tienen fianzas que conllevan condiciones especiales, las cuales prohíban que tengan contacto con ciertas personas o que vayan a ciertos lugares.
These special conditions will be provided to you on a separate form.
A ustedes se le van a proporcionar estas condiciones especiales en otro formulario aparte.
You will also be prohibited from contacting the victim while you are in jail.
También se le prohíbe ponerse en contacto con la víctima mientras está detenido.
If you violate the court's order, your bond will be revoked and you can remain in jail until your trial.
Si incumple esta orden judicial, su fianza quedará revocada y permanecerá detenido en la cárcel hasta su juicio.
You could also receive additional felony charges.
También se le podría formular cargos adicionales de mayor cuantía.
It is important to note that if someone is listed as a victim in your case, that person will not be allowed to post your bond.
Es importante señalar que si alguien aparece como la víctima, en su caso, a esa persona no se le permite depositar la fianza por usted.
Some of you are charged with offenses for which this court is not authorized by law to set bail.
Algunos de ustedes tienen acusaciones las cuales no tengo la autorización para imponerle fianza.
In this event, a bond hearing will be scheduled before a judge of the Superior Court of Clayton County, and you will be informed of that date.
En este caso, se le programará una audiencia para determinar fianza ante un juez de la Sala Superior del Condado de Clayton y a usted se le va a informar de la fecha de la audiencia.
If you are currently on active probation, this court is not authorized to set bond at this time.
Si actualmente está cumpliendo una condena condicional, de libertad condicional, yo como juez no tengo la autorización para imponerle fianza en este momento.
Whether bond is appropriate in your case will be reconsidered after your probation officer has had an opportunity to consider this new arrest.
Si es apropiado determinarle una fianza en este caso, se puede hacer una nueva consideración de la fianza una vez que su agente de libertad condicional ha tenido la oportunidad de enterarse de esta nueva acusación.
The purpose of a preliminary hearing is to determine whether there is sufficient evidence to support the allegations against you.
El propósito de la audiencia preliminar es para determinar si existe el motivo fundado para fundamentar las acusaciones en su contra.
The standard at this stage is very low.
El estándar de lo que hay que presentar es muy bajo en esta etapa del tribunal.
A judge determining whether a charge goes forward at this stage only has to determine that it is possible that the crime occurred.
El juez, para determinar si una acusación va a seguir en pie en esta etapa, solamente tiene que determinar si es posible que el delito ocurrió.
Everyone has the ability to waive their right to a preliminary hearing.
Todos tienen la habilidad de renunciar a su derecho a la audiencia preliminar.
However, you should speak to a lawyer first if you are unsure about whether it is appropriate to waive your preliminary hearing.
Sin embargo, debería consultar con un abogado primero si no está seguro si es apropiado o no renunciar a su audiencia preliminar.
If you post bond, your preliminary hearing is automatically waived.
Si deposita fianza para salir, entonces la audiencia preliminar se renuncia automáticamente.
You will receive notice at the address you give of your next court date.
Y usted recibirá notificación de la próxima audiencia en la dirección que deja en la cárcel.
Finally, I need everyone to raise their right hand.
No, necesito que todos levanten la mano derecha, por favor.
Do you swear or affirm that any statements you make during this hearing will be the truth, the whole truth, so help you God?
Juran o afirman que cualquier declaración que presenten ustedes en esta audiencia será la verdad y toda la verdad ante Dios lo juran.
Okay, let's get started with Ms. Lopez first.
Bueno, comencemos primero con la señora López, por favor.
And she will do her first since she speaks. The opposite of
Ms. Lopez, can you see and understand the interpreter?
Señora López, ¿puede usted ver y también entender a la intérprete de español?
Sí.
Yes.
Ms. Lopez, you've been charged with one count of driving a vehicle with no license.
Señora López, a usted se le ha formulado una sola acusación de conducir sin licencia.
Correcto.
That's correct.
The bond for this offense is set at $1,000.
La fianza que se impone para esta infracción es $1,000.
Do you believe you, I'm sorry.
Yes, thank you.
Do you believe you can post this bond, ma'am?
Señora, ¿piensa que usted va a poder depositar la fianza?
Ya lo pagué ayer, pagó mi esposo a las 4 de la tarde.
It was already paid yesterday. My husband paid it yesterday at 4 p.m.
Okay.
May the interpreter ask her to repeat? She said something at the end that I did not hear.
Yes.
Señora, ¿qué fue lo que dijo al final? No escuché bien.
Es que como pagué ya ayer desde las 4 de la mañana, no sé si es normal que sigo aquí.
So it was paid yesterday at 4 a.m. I'm not sure why I'm still here.
Sometimes there is a delay and, well, go ahead.
A veces, señora, hay una demora.
Okay.
Okay.
Ma'am, would you like for me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
Señora, quisiera que yo determine si usted cumple requisitos para un abogado de oficio.
Sí.
Yes.
Do you currently work, Ms. Lopez?
Señora López, ¿está usted trabajando actualmente?
No.
No.
You qualify, ma'am. I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you.
Así que usted sí cumple requisitos y voy a nombrar un abogado para representarla.
You will,
Sí.
Yes.
you will receive notice of your court date in the mail.
Señora, a usted se le va a notificar por correo de su próxima audiencia.
Okay.
Okay.
Do you have any questions?
¿Tiene usted alguna pregunta, señora, o inquietud?
Sí. Perdón, es que como digo del abogado es cuando venga mi, digamos como corte.
So when I have the attorney, that's when I'll have my court date?
You will have the attorney before your court date.
Se le va a asignar el abogado antes de la fecha de su próxima audiencia.
No, es necesario tenerlo entonces.
And it's necessary to have one then?
You don't have to have an attorney. You have the right to represent yourself, to
Usted-
act as your own lawyer. or
Usted no,
to have a lawyer appointed? I'm sorry.
it's okay.
Go ahead.
Usted no tiene que tener un abogado. Usted tiene todo el derecho de seguir en representación propia o de tener un abogado que la representa.
Ok, está bien.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay, you're free to go back, ma'am.
Está bien, ya se puede retirar. Gracias, señora.
Gracias.
Thank you.
Judge Gardner,
Yes.
oh, we have one more for a Spanish interpreter. It's a male.
Okay. What's the name?
¿Cuál es su nombre, señor?
Kevin Leonardo Escobar.
The interpreter was able to hear clearly the last name. I heard Escobar, but the interpreter did not hear clearly the first two names mentioned.
Kevin Leonardo.
Kevin Leonardo?
Sí.
Kevin Leonardo Escobar.
Mr. Escobar, you've been charged with one count of simple battery.
Señor Escobar, se le está acusando de una sola infracción de violencia simple.
The bond for that offense is set at $5,000.
La fianza para esta infracción se le impone a $5,000.
There's going to be a condition on this bond to stay away from Rajesh Shetty.
Your Honor, could you repeat that last name for me again?
It's Shetty.
Su fianza, señor, conlleva una condición de tener ningún contacto con Rajesh Shetty.
Do you understand this, Mr. Escobar?
¿Entiende esto, señora Escobar?
Sí.
Yes.
You're going to have a preliminary hearing date of April 13th.
Su audiencia preliminar se señala para la fecha 13 de abril.
That date will be based upon your bonding out, and you will receive a new court date in the mail.
Esta fecha de audiencia o esta audiencia se renuncia una vez que usted haya salido bajo fianza y luego le llegará por correo la notificación de la próxima audiencia, señor.
Would you like for me to see if you qualify for a lawyer?
Quisiera, señor, que yo determine si usted reúne requisitos para un abogado de oficio.
Quisiera saber, sí.
I'd like to, yes.
You do qualify, Mr. Escobar. I'm appointing a lawyer to represent you.
Usted sí cumple requisitos, señor, así que le voy a nombrar un abogado para representarlo.
Do you have any questions of me, sir?
¿Tiene usted alguna pregunta para mí, señor?
Sí, entonces ahorita no voy a tener una fianza.
Yes, so right now I won't have a bond.
You do have a bond. It's $5,000.
No, señor, usted sí tiene fianza, es de $5,000.
Okay. Pagando la fianza, yo podría tener mi libertad de nuevo.
And upon paying the bond, I will be free again.
Yes, sir.
Sí, señor.
Okay.
Any
Okay.
questions, Mr. Escobar?
¿Alguna pregunta, señor Escobar?
Sí, también quería preguntar algo también porque por la parte de mi familia.
I wanted to ask something else on behalf of my family.
Sure.
Sí, adelante.
Bueno, mi madre había contactado a un law firm que es Patterson Firm para pasar ese proceso de lo que pasó en ese día de lo del incidente.
Well, my mother had contacted a law firm, Patterson Law Firm, to go over what had happened on the date of the incident. Mhm.
Y el abogado, él dijo que había tomado el proceso y que había ido durante el proceso y había dicho que yo estaba bien para andar, que no tenía nada conmigo, ya no iba a tener problemas.
And the attorney took the case and he said that I shouldn't have any problems, that I was fine.
Okay, so is the attorney Jackie Patterson?
El nombre del abogado, señor, es el licenciado Jackie Patterson.
No estoy seguro del nombre de él, pero me dieron un número de teléfono.
I'm not sure of his name, but I was given a phone number.
Okay, since you have hired a lawyer, I'm not going to appoint a lawyer to you. Because you already have a lawyer.
Como ustedes ya contrataron un abogado, no le voy a designar un abogado de oficio porque ya tiene uno.
Okay.
¿Está bien? Yes.
Okay, you're free to go back, Mr.
Muy
Escobar.
bien, señor. Ya se puede retirar. Gracias, señor Escobar.
Muchísimas gracias.
Thank you so much.
Okay. If we don't have anyone else, I'm going to release Ms. Toll to go about her business. Do we have anyone else?
We'll see you, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Toll. You
Thank
have a
you,
good
Your
day.
Honor. Everyone have a great day. Thank you.
Okay. All right, let's go back to the ladies' side.
Who you have first, Your Honor?
I have a Mika Calhoun. Ms. Calhoun, you've been charged with 1 count of possession of marijuana less than an ounce and 1 count of possession of MDMA. The possession of MDMA is a felony, and it looks from your criminal history that you're on probation. So I can't set a bond for that felony offense at this stage. I can't set a bond on the possession of marijuana, which is going to be at $1,500. I'm going to give you a preliminary hearing date of April 14th at 8:30 in the morning, and it's going to be in courtroom 201. I'm going to set a bond hearing date of April 16th. Now, this doesn't mean that you have to sit in jail until April 14th, because that is something that can be handled before then. But just under that statute, I can't set a bond for anyone on a felony who it says that they're on probation at the first hearing.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, ma'am.
Is there any way, I don't have any numbers because my phone's dead. Is there any way I can get in touch with my probation officer? I don't have her number.
Yes. Well, basically, you know, 411 is still something that is in existence. Do you know what location and the name of your probation officer?
County, her name is Officer Chang.
You said Clayton County?
Yes, sir, Officer Chang.
Okay. I don't have the number for Clayton County probation. You may be able to get it from the jail. You're going to be, well, let me ask you this. Do you have your own lawyer, or do you want me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
I don't have a lawyer.
Okay. You do qualify. If you want me to, I can appoint a lawyer to represent you. And that lawyer will be from the Clayton County Public Defender's Office. But because this is a drug offense, you most likely will get a bond and get out. But this is just something by law I can't do at this stage. So if you ask for the number for the Clayton County Public Defender's Office, this paperwork is going to go over today, and they're going to know that they've been appointed to represent you. And you can explain your circumstance. And my understanding is that they are working with the district attorney's office because of this COVID stuff, that they're doing a lot more of trying to work things out on the front end, because we're not having court dates or court hearing dates. We're doing this stuff by Zoom. So that is what I would suggest to you, to kind of get all of this stuff wrapped up and taken care of so you can get out.
Okay, sir. So when would I get the information of who my public defender would be?
I don't know how quickly they are setting up hearings, or not hearings, but meetings. My understanding is that you can contact them and tell them your name and that you need to speak to someone about this charge.
If I can have someone get in touch with my probation officer for me, could I handle it that way? And
Yes, because most often there's a question that'll be asked of the probation officer as to whether they're going to seek to revoke you or not. And if they say no, then you're kind of cleared out of the way to get a bond and get out. And that's the whole purpose of that statute, is that because things turn around so quickly, sometimes probation officer says, you know, I've been looking for her. And then it's like, no, I'm just saying, not in your circumstance. But the person is already bonded out. So that's why this statute came into existence, so that it gives them time to be notified.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Any questions about your court date or your preliminary, your bond hearing date?
Just one more question. You said so I could get out sooner than my court date. If my probation officer tells them to allow me out, then I get my bond hearing right after that?
Well, it'll most likely be consented to by the district attorney's office.
Okay.
Because that's just less work for them on the front end. So if they're like, hey, we don't have any problems with her, then this can be consented to, and they give it to a judge to sign the order, and then you get a bond and you're out.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. Any other questions?
No, sir.
Okay, you're free to go back, Ms. Calhoun. I have Ariel Harmon. Ms. Harmon, you've been charged with one count of criminal trespass, and that's from a warrant that was issued back in September of 2020. And that is for criminal trespass, and the bond is going to be set at $3,500 for that warrant. You also is charged with battery, and that's the most recent charge. And there's going to be a $5,000 bond set on the battery charge. So there's going to be a total bond of $8,500. But I've put a stay away provision on the bond to stay away from London Harmon and Aretha Harmon. So I understand that those are relatives, but do you understand that stay away provision?
Yes, I understand it. I do have a question. How
Yes,
would
ma'am.
how would that work when that is my house and they are under my,
When,
how does that work?
well, what happens is that two things will happen, or possibly happen. One, they decide we want to stay in this house and we don't want her to be around us. If that's the situation, by their being named as victims, it's very hard to force them out. They could say, look, we're not afraid of her. This was just, an isolated incident, and we want that stay away provision to be lifted. And the solicitor's office, which would be the prosecutor in your case, they could say, look, we agree to lifting this stay away provision, and then it's lifted and you go about your business.
Okay, so you said 8,500.
Total bond, yes, ma'am.
And if you use a bonding company, it would be like 10 or 15% of that?
That's in the range, yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Do you want me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
I actually have a paid lawyer who's handling everything.
Okay, who's your lawyer?
His name is James Sutter. He's on North Avenue.
Okay. Looking for your form. So if you don't have any other questions of me, Ms. Harmon, you're free to go back.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Ms. Hayes.
Yes, sir.
Ms. Hayes, you've been charged with three Driving related, well, 2 driving related offenses and 1 regular offense. Failure to signal before turning, the bond is set at $500 for that. You're charged with a DUI. The bond is going to be $5,000 for that. And you're charged with obstructing an officer. The bond is going to be $2,000. So you're going to have a total bond of $7,500. Do you believe you can post that bond, man?
Am I to have that bond if I'm not guilty of any of said charges?
Well, at this stage, we're not determining whether you're guilty or innocent. We're trying to give you court dates, assign a lawyer as quickly as possible to defend your case. And you can hire your own lawyer, you can represent yourself, or you can see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer. But that's sort of what this whole proceeding is about.
I would like to either defend myself or find my own lawyer, please.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. You're going to have a court date of April 13th, but that date is going to get waived upon your bonding out, and you'll get a new court date in the mail. Do you have any questions of me, ma'am?
Yes, sir.
Okay, you're free to go back.
Oh, I said yes. So I don't get to ask questions, even though it's not?
Which question?
Oh, I do have a question, sir.
Yes, ma'am.
So is the third charge, I did not realize, I was not informed of that when I was arrested by Officer Campbell. He did not inform me that I did not have on a blinker. So it still counts as a charge, even though the police report wasn't fully disclosed before intake?
Well, at this stage, the only standard is whether it's possible, because I think the passenger in your vehicle was arrested and charged with obstructing an officer, just 1 charge. So it seems as though the officer is basing the obstruction on, at least the allegation was that the passenger started trying to get involved with the officer trying to perform field sobriety tests, and then you started, well, let me finish.
Okay.
And then you started reacting to that. Now, out of the 3 charges that I see, the obstruction seems to be the weakest charge, but it doesn't mean that I dismiss it at this point, because my job is not to determine whether you're guilty or innocent. It's just to see if there's evidence to support the charge. Okay? But that's where the lawyer comes in. Okay, anything else, ma'am?
Yes.
Okay.
If I passed the sobriety test. If I passed the sobriety test while he was conducting it, does that count for anything?
Basically, what happens in DUI cases is that it's all based upon what the officer says the officer saw or observed. So people get arrested all the time and their charges get dismissed all the time. So that's why we say the allegations against you. So it's not saying that this is going to be something that leads to guilt, but that's because the officer is going to have to support whatever the officer has put in here. And if the officer can't support it, then those charges will get dismissed.
Okay. And last question, sir.
Sure.
How much longer will I be in here considering the charges at bay?
You can bond out today, just so you know the process. I complete all of the paperwork, and then when this whole hearing is over, I send it over to the sheriff's department, and they begin working on entering the information. So the longer the hearing, the longer it takes. So that's why it's like, ballpark figure will be later this evening that you'll be able to post bond.
Okay, and is that considered a signature bond, or is that the same?
No, the 3 options were cash, commercial, or property. Cash, you can pay the complete amount in cash to the sheriff's department, and they'll give you that money back when your case is over. Bonding company, you tell them, I got a $7,500 bond, and they'll tell you the fee that they will charge to bond you out. The third option is the property amount. It's a property bond. So if you own property that has an equity of at least, looks like $22,000, you can put your property up and they'll put a lien on your property while your case is pending. And then when your case is over, they'll take the lien off your property.
Okay, understood, sir.
Okay, anything else?
No, sir.
Okay, you're free to go back, Ms. Hayes.
Shanta Phillips.
Ms. Phillips, you've been charged with 1 count of theft by conversion motor vehicle. The bond is going to be set at $20,000 for that. Do you believe you can post that bond?
20,000.
Yes, ma'am.
Possibly.
Okay. You're going to have a court date of April 14th in courtroom 201. It's going to be 8:30 in the morning, but it's most likely will be a Zoom hearing. Once you bond out, that hearing is going to get waived and your charges are going to go to Superior Court. Would you like for me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
Yes.
Okay. Give me 1 second. Man.
Okay.
You do qualify, Ms. Phillips. I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you. Do you have any questions of me?
Yes. Before the hearing, is there a way that I can, because it was with the rental car,
Yes.
that I can show that they had agreed to have me drop it off at a location?
Yes, you can. And if you can show that, these charges are likely going to be dismissed.
I just have to get to an email.
Okay. I can't give you access to email.
I know I can have my daughter to print it out.
You should have your daughter print it out, and you should at least, let's see, I'm appointing you a lawyer, have that information provided to the district attorney's office so that they can make a decision about what they're going to do about this case. And if what you said to me is true, you may want to talk to a civil lawyer. Any other questions, ma'am?
I don't know what is a civil lawyer.
Somebody to sue the rental company.
Oh, okay.
Any other questions?
No, well, one other, I can do that quickly.
Yes, ma'am.
And what would be the portion of a 20,000, like $2,000?
Roughly that amount. Bonding companies, the sheriff's office has a list of companies that are authorized to write bonds in this county. And I would encourage you to contact each one of them because sometimes they'll even put you on a payment.
Okay, all right, thank you, Your Honor.
You're welcome. Who's the next person?
Ms. Rucker?
Ms. Rucker, you've been charged with 1 count of simple battery and 1 count of cruelty to children in the 3rd degree. I'm setting the bond at $5,000 for each of those offenses. And I'm putting a stay away provision on the bond to stay away from Vicky Williams.
Mhm.
Do you believe you can post that bond, ma'am?
Yes.
Would you like for me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
Yes.
You do qualify, ma'am. I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you.
Mhm.
You're going to have a court date of April 13th, but
Okay.
that date will be waived upon your bonding out, and you'll receive a new court date in the mail. Do
Okay.
you have any questions of me, ma'am?
You said 5,000 apiece, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, you're free to go back, Ms. Rucker. I'm sorry? Did you say Ms. Smith?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Ms. Smith, you've been charged with 1 count of simple battery, family violence. I'm setting the bond at $5,000 for that and putting a stay away provision on the bond to stay away from Keandra Smith. Believe you can post that bond?
No, sir.
You said no?
I can't afford the $5,000.
Speak it over, speak it over. You can't hear.
I can't afford the $5,000 bond.
Could you just speak a little bit louder?
I can't afford a $5,000 bond.
Okay. What I would ask you to do, ma'am, is to contact the bonding companies, because like I just told the other lady, they will work with you. So don't just believe that you can't get out. But would you like for me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, you do qualify, Ms. Smith. I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you. Your bond here, your preliminary hearing date is also going to be April 13th. The date will get waived upon your bonding out, and you will receive a new court date in the mail. Do you have any questions of me, ma'am?
Yes, sir. How would the stay away thing work if she's my mother and I live there?
So this stay away provision is something that we place on these types of charges because we don't want whatever happened to lead you to be before me to just flare back up once you get out. She can waive that. She can say, look, I don't want that on there. I'm not afraid of her. She can come back and live with me. And the solicitor's office will say, okay, fine. But that's going to be something that's going to have to be done, at a later time. It could be done tomorrow if your mother is not afraid of you and wants to have you to come back home.
Okay, and is there any way, would she be able to drop the charges if she chose to?
She can contact, again, the solicitor's office and say that she wants to do that. And sometimes they will and sometimes they won't. But it's based upon kind of how they view what the situation.
Okay, and what if, because with the situation that happened, I have evidence. I showed the officer the video of what happened and her hit on me, and they took me instead.
Now, that's a decision that the officer makes at the scene, and that'll be something that'll be looked at as it relates to your case, but that's not going to be something that could be decided today.
Okay.
Any other questions?
No, sir.
Okay, you're free to go back.
Brianna Phillips.
Okay, Ms. Phillips, your situation is going to be a little bit different than the others. You are here because there are warrants for your arrest out of Louisiana. And the warrants are for insurance fraud, forgery of insurance, computer fraud, and theft. So you have a right to contest your extradition back to Louisiana. And if you do, there will be a hearing held sometime within the next 30 days. And the purpose of that hearing will be to determine whether you are the Brianna Phillips named in the warrant and whether the charges that they say are pending are actual charges. And that's pretty much all the judge will determine. You can also choose to waive your right to that habeas hearing. And if you do that, you sign a waiver and I sign off on the waiver. And then they will notify, the sheriff's office would notify Louisiana that we're ready for them to come get you. And they will roughly have 60 days to come and get you. If they don't come and get you, then you will get released from the jail. You'll still have the warrants pending out there, but the purpose of this whole system is not for Clayton County to hold you indefinitely when we don't have any charges pending against you. Do you have a lawyer to represent you either in Louisiana or here?
Yes, sir, I do.
In both places or just one place?
No, sir, just in Louisiana.
Okay. So sometimes what can happen is your lawyer in Louisiana can negotiate on your behalf, either for you to self-surrender to Louisiana or for them to lift the hold on you. That I've seen that happen, and sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. Because of everything that's going on now, Louisiana may decide they don't want to deal with you right now, and they'll lift the hold, and the sheriff's office here will release you. But if those warrants are still pending and not taken care of, you could still get arrested if you're stopped by an officer again and they see that there are pending warrants. Okay. So do you have any questions about what I just explained to you?
Just one question, because I do want to go back to Louisiana as soon as possible.
Okay.
My lawyer also said that they would have up to 30 days to come get me.
That is the first part. They can request an extension. Like the 30-day period comes up, the sheriff's office here is going to contact Louisiana and said, hey, look, you said you want to come get her. We've been holding her for you to come get her. Are you in fact going to come get her? They can say, no, we're not going to do it. Or they can say, look, we're requesting an extension of another 30 days. And then that's either granted or is not granted.
Okay.
Okay. So you want to sign the waiver?
Yes.
Okay. So what's going to happen is that the officers there are going to give you forms to sign, and then they're going to send those forms back over to me today with your signature, and I'm going to sign it and send it back over with the rest of the paperwork from this morning. Okay. Any questions about that?
No, sir.
Okay. Well, you're free to go. Once you sign the waiver, you're free to go back.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
That's it for the females, John.
Okay, thank you. You have a good day.
Yes, sir.
All right, I'm ready to start with the males.
Yes, Your Honor. Come on, first person up. Tell my name, get up here, put your hands behind your back.
Tell me your name, sir.
D'Angelo Ashley.
Mr. Ashley, you've been charged with one count of obstructing an officer. I've set the bill at $1,500. Do you believe you can post that bond?
I was actually on the way to work to make some money when all of this transpired. I was wondering if you could gain access to the dashboard cam for evidence.
I can't, but it will be available to you. Let me ask you this question. Do you plan on hiring your own lawyer representing yourself, or do you want me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
I'll take the appointment of a lawyer.
Okay. Approximately how much do you make per hour?
I make $15 an hour. Sometimes it ranges in between $15 and $18.
Okay, you do qualify. And the reason I asked that question is because your lawyer can obtain the dash cam,
Mhm.
And I do see from the way that this is written that your lawyer may be able to do something about this. You're going to have a preliminary hearing date that's set for April 13th at 8:30 in the morning, but that date will get waived upon your bonding out and you'll receive a new court date in the mail. So do you have any questions for me, Mr. Ashley?
Mm. No.
Okay, you're free to go back, sir.
I had one more question. Hold on, I'm sorry. I did have a question.
Yes.
When is my my lady friend's court date?
Let me see. Hold on one second. She's in the same position as you, meaning it's that April 13th date, but her hearing date will get waived too upon her bonding out.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Come this one. Next one, give me name.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Good morning.
Hey, hold it down, sir.
My name is Jermaine Bagley.
Okay, Mr. Bagley, I've received warrants from your last hearing back from your arrest back in I'm sorry, it wasn't December. Hold on.
I was arrested on December 9th.
Okay, so I have the warrants from that arrest, but not warrants that were issued to bring you back here to for me today. I've requested those 2 warrants. So if we could just hold Mr. Bagley until the end. I still don't have his 2 warrants for today.
Yes, Your Honor. Just have a seat. Next man.
Hey, how you doing, sir? My name is Ramus Brown.
Okay, Mr. Brown, you've been charged with 1 count of simple battery and 1 count of terroristic threats or acts. I've set the total bond at $15,000. Do you believe you can post that bond?
How much?
15,000.
Yes.
Okay. You're also gonna have a stay away provision on your bond to stay away from Jessica Brown,
Okay.
Jasmine Brown, and Jacob Rains. Do you understand the stay away provision, sir?
Yes, sir.
Do you plan on hiring your own lawyer, representing yourself, or do you want me to see if you qualify for the appointment?
I see you qualify. I might give me one. I'll just see if I qualify.
Okay. You do qualify, Mr. Brown. I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you. You're gonna have a preliminary hearing date of April 14th at 8:30 in the morning. That date will get waived upon your bonding out, and you will receive a new court date in the mail.
Okay.
Do you have any questions of me?
No, sir. That's it.
Okay, you're free to go back.
All right.
Takari Bailey.
Okay, hold on, Mr. Bailey. Give me 1 second. I need to send a message. Okay. Mr. Bailey, you've been charged with 1 count of violating Georgia Controlled Substance Act. This is a felony. I've set the bond at $6,000. Do you believe you can post that bond?
Yeah.
Do you plan on hiring your own lawyer, representing yourself, or do you want me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
I try to qualify right now, but I'm trying to get one when I get out.
Okay, you do qualify, Mr. Bailey, so I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you. You're going to have a preliminary hearing date set for April 14th, 8:30 in the morning, but that date will get waived upon your bonding out. Do you have any questions of me, sir?
Oh, you said 6,000, right?
Yes, sir.
That's it. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. You're free to go back. You, Mr. Bates?
Yes, sir.
I'm sorry?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Bates, you've been charged with 1 count of identity fraud and 1 count of giving a false name, address, or date of birth. The identity fraud count is a felony, and I can't set a bond at this hearing on that charge because it says that you're still on probation. I'm going to set a preliminary hearing date for April 12th and a bond hearing date for April 16th. Like I told one of the ladies who also was in your position, all it takes is a probation officer to say that they're not going to come and get you, and you'll get a bond on that charge.
They already said that they wasn't gonna come get me.
Okay. Did they say that to the okay. So do you have a lawyer? Do you want me to see if you qualify for a lawyer?
I'd like to see if I qualify for one.
Okay. How much do you make per month, Mr. Bates?
I make $15 an hour. I'm work 40 hours a week.
Okay. The $15 an hour is enough. I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you. You're going to have, like I said before, the preliminary hearing date of April 14th. But you need to tell the lawyer what you just told me about the probation officer, and I'm certain that the DA's office will consent to a bond and allow you to get out.
Okay.
Do you have any questions for me, Mr. Bates?
No.
Okay, you're free to go back. Mr. Beasley?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Beasley, you've been charged with 1 count of battery and 1 count of cruelty to children in the 3rd degree. I've set the bond at $5,000 for each of these offenses for a total bond of $10,000. I've also put a stay away provision on the bond to stay away from Terriana Beasley. Do you believe you can post this bond?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you've been charged as a felony for the cruelty to children count. So you're going to have a preliminary hearing date April 14th, but that date will get waived upon your bonding out, and you'll get a new court date in the mail. Do you plan on hiring your own lawyer representing yourself, or do you want me to see if you qualify for the appointment?
I was going to hire one, sir.
Okay. Do you have any questions of me, Mr. Beasley?
No, sir.
Okay, you're free to go back.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks, man. So it's good, man. Anytime back.
What's your name, sir?
Frederick Bryant.
Mr. Bryant, you've been charged with 1 count of a brake light violation, saying your brake light wasn't working. $500 bond for that. You've been charged with 1 count of possession of cocaine or crack. The bond is going to be set at $5,000 for that, and 1 count of use or possession of drug-related objects. Now, the violation of Georgia Controlled Substance Act is a felony, so you're going to have a preliminary hearing date of April 14th at 8:30 in the morning, but that date will get waived upon your bonding out. So you have a total bond of $7,000. Do you believe you can post that bond?
No.
Okay. Would you like for me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
Yes.
You do qualify, Mr. Bryant. So I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you. Do you have any questions of me?
No.
Okay, you're free to go back.
Yes, ma'am.
Have your name, sir?
Xavier Capel.
Mr. Cabell, you've been charged with 1 count of simple battery. You're in the position as some of the others that there's an indication that you're on probation. And so I can't set a bond at this time for misdemeanors involving alleged acts of violence. But that doesn't mean you can't get out. I just can't set it at this stage. You're going to have a preliminary hearing date set for April 13th at 8:30 in the morning. And that'll be over Zoom hearing like we're having here today. Do you plan on hiring your own lawyer representing yourself, or do you want me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
Do I qualify?
You do qualify, sir, so I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you. Do you have any questions of me?
Yes, sir. I thought, I was told in intake that my charge was just regular battery, not simple battery.
Well, either one would lead to the same result.
Okay.
So they have written it up on the warrant as battery, and on the bond order is listed as simple battery, but you were written up as family violence battery. Okay. Any other questions?
No, sir. Thank. And you say my preliminary hearing date is the 14th.
It's the 13th.
The 13th.
Right, but I've appointed you a lawyer, and the lawyer may be able to get this resolved, meaning the whole probation issue taken care of. And if that's done, you're normally guaranteed to get a bond on a misdemeanor, except for this one instance is where I can't set the bond at this stage.
Right.
Okay, any other questions?
No, sir. Thank you.
You're welcome. Tell me your name, sir.
Chris Cooper Jr.
Sorry, say that again.
Christopher Cooper Jr.
Okay. Mr. Cooper, you've been charged with possession of marijuana less than an ounce and theft of services. These two offenses, the bond is automatically set. So you're gonna have a total bond of $3,500. Do you believe you can post that bond?
I do not know at this time, sir, to be honest.
Okay. Do you want me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
Yes, sir.
Are you currently employed, Mr. Cooper?
At this moment, no, sir.
Okay. So you do qualify. I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you. Do you have any questions of me?
If I can't bond out, do I have to stay until the court date?
If you can't bond out, yes.
When is that court date?
April 13th. But if you believe you can't bond out or you're having problems bonding out, your lawyers can probably work with the solicitor's office to see if there's something that they can do about working this case out before that date. Like I said before, because of everything with the virus, they're trying to do as much as possible to streamline cases.
Is there a way that I can know when I'm gonna be able to meet the lawyer that I'm appointed?
The law firm is going to be Lister, Lister, and Holt, Holt. And they're going to get the paperwork today that they've been appointed to represent you. I don't know how fast they do their turnaround, But if you don't have contact with somebody in a day or two, I would call the office, the law office, and tell them that that they've been appointed to represent you, and you need to speak to someone.
Okay, two more questions and I'm done.
Okay.
The first question is, what is the number for the place?
I don't have their number, but I don't have their number, but I do believe that number is there in the jail. Like if you were to request that number, I do believe that that information would be available.
And the last question is, what was the bond amount again?
$3,500.
Thank you, sir. Have a nice day.
You too.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon. Tell me your name, sir.
Jonathan Dorsey.
Mr. Dorsey, you've been charged with one count of possession of marijuana less than an ounce and one count of violation of Georgia Controlled Substance Act. And that specifically is having more than an ounce of marijuana. I've set the bond on the drug charge at $10,000, and the bond on the possession of marijuana less than an ounce is $1,500. So that's a total bond of $11,500. Do you believe you can post that bond?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Actually, it looks like it's MDMA. Sorry.
$10,000 bond for that.
Okay. You're going to have a preliminary hearing date set for April 14th at 8:30 in the morning. That date will be waived upon your bonding out, and you'll receive a new court date in the mail. Do you plan on hiring your own lawyer representing yourself, or do you want me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
Let's see if I qualify.
You do qualify, Mr. Dorsey, so I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you. Do you have any questions of me?
No.
Okay, you're free to go back.
Michael Fanning, Judge.
Okay. Mr. Fannin, you've been charged with one count of driving on a suspended license. The bond for that is automatically set at $1,500. Do you believe you can post that bond?
Oh, yes, sir.
Okay. You're going to have a preliminary hearing date set for April. That date is going to get waived upon your bonding out. Do you plan on hiring your own lawyer representing yourself, or do you want me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
See if I qualify, sir.
Okay. Are you currently employed, Mr. Fannin?
Yes, sir.
Approximately how much do you make per hour?
$17 an hour.
Okay, you qualify. I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you. Do you have any questions of me?
Yes, sir. What is the situation with the cash bond? I have a cash bond also.
Yes, you can post your bond either by cash, commercial, meaning a bonding company, or by property. So if you pay the whole amount in cash, the sheriff's office will hold that and they'll return it to you when your case is over.
So on a cash bond, I can use the bonding company also?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
All right. Anything else?
And what's that total bond, y'all?
$1,500.
Okay, thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Thanks. Give me a name, sir. Just a little more there, brother.
Yes. Michael Thomas.
Okay.
So you're going to start in your role.
Mr. Harris, you've been charged with one count.
Michael Thomas.
Oh, Michael Thomas. Okay.
Harris. How y'all get mixed up? Oh, no, what? That's Harris. That's me did. That's me called. Yeah, you need to come down. Get back on track. Who you call, Harris?
We wait. Please set me that.
I'll deal with Mr. Thomas, but I'm going through the paperwork to get to him.
Sorry about that, Your Honor.
Sorry about that.
No problem. Okay, Mr. Thomas, you've been charged with 1 count of battery. The bond is going to be set at $5,000 for that, but I'm going to put a stay away provision on your bond to stay away from Natasha Eccles.
Yes, sir.
Do you
Yes, sir.
what's that bond?
Yes, sir.
You're going to have a preliminary hearing date set for April 13th, but that date will get waived upon your bonding out.
Yes, sir.
Do you plan on hiring your own lawyer representing yourself, or do you want me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
See if I qualify.
You qualify, Mr. Thomas. I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you.
Yes, sir.
Do you have any questions for me?
No, sir.
Okay, you're free to go back.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Come on, Mr. Harris. I'm the picture of your mother.
How you doing, sir?
Keep that mask on. Keep the mask on, sir.
Yes, sir.
I'm sorry, you said you're Mr. Fitzgerald?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Mr. Fitzgerald, you're charged with 2 counts of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, 1 count of criminal trespass, and 1 count of simple assault. I can't set a bond on the 2 aggravated assault charges at this stage. So I've given you a bond hearing date of April 16th and a preliminary hearing date of April 14th. You have a bond on the criminal trespass and the simple assault. They're both going to be set at $5,000. Do you want me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
Yes.
Okay.
Excuse me, bro. Excuse me, sir.
Hold it down.
Yes, yes.
I have like 2 jobs, and this happened at my house. They kind of ambushed me when at this whole thing. I was trying to like see if there's anything that you do to drop it, or if you ever get any type of bond for those, so I can continue with working.
I can't. At this stage, I'm prohibited by law from setting a bond on these charges. At this stage, doesn't mean you can't get a bond, but at this stage, I cannot set a bond. The circumstance that you just explained to me is something that you should tell the lawyer, because that can matter, and there are potential defenses if this happened at your house. But I'm putting a stay away provision on the bond to stay away from DeAndrew Leppard and Shaquila Green. Do you have any questions of me, Mr. Fitzgerald?
When I do get the full bond, won't be the next time that I'll be able to postpone anything like that? And
well,
hopefully a bond.
We have a bond hearing date of April 16th, but based upon what you just said, if your lawyer can show that to the district attorney's office, there's probably a high likelihood that they will consent to a bond for you getting out earlier.
Yes, sir.
Okay, any other questions?
I probably would need a attorney because I'm probably gonna get fired from both of my jobs.
Okay, so I've appointed a lawyer to represent you. Any other questions, Mr. Fitzgerald?
No, that'd be it.
Okay, you're free to go back.
All right, cool.
Hey. Give me your name.
Name is Micah Harris.
Mr. Harris, you've been charged with 1 count of criminal trespass. We set the bond at $1,500, but I also have put in the stay away provision on the bond to stay away from 6,000 North Terminal Parkway. Do you believe you can post this bond?
No, sir.
Would you like me to qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
Yes, sir.
You do qualify, Mr. I'm appointing a lawyer to represent you. You're going to have a court date set for April 13th. So if you're unable to get out, that'll be your next court date. However, this charge is something that probably can be worked out before that date. So that's why it's good to have a lawyer. Do you have any questions of me, sir?
No, sir.
Okay, you're free to go back.
Thank you very much, sir.
You're welcome. Tell me your name, sir.
Anthony Harrison.
Mr. Harrison, you've been charged with 2 offenses. Possession of marijuana less than an ounce and improper backing. The bond for both of these are set by schedule. So the total bond is going to be $2,000. Do you believe you can post that bond?
Yes.
You're going to have a preliminary hearing date of April 13th, but that date will get waived upon your bonding out. Do you want me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
Yes, that's okay.
Okay. You do qualify, Mr. Harrison. I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you. Do you have any questions for me?
Yes, when I got arrested, they took my money from me, and I wanted to know what they did with it because it wasn't in my property.
Let me see. What's the arresting agency? If it was cash, looks like it says it was the Clayton County Sheriff's Department that arrested you. That money may have been placed in an account, and you'll get a check back as it relates to the amount of money that was taken.
It was $2,400.
My guess would be, and this is guessing, but the Sheriff's Department will be able to explain it to you better because of the size of that money, that they probably deposited the cash rather than it disappearing out of your property. Does that make sense?
No, I understand what you're saying, yeah.
Okay.
Because when I first got here, he told me they took it upstairs to count it, and they were supposed to bring it back down, but I've never seen it after that.
So of course, that's a large amount of money to not give up on about what happened to it. But I'm saying my belief is that because of the amount that it was deposited, and that they're going to give you a check.
Okay. When I leave, when I bail out, or they're going to send it in the mail?
Honestly, I don't know, but that's something that they should be able to answer for you.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Any other questions, Mr. Harris?
No, that's it.
Okay, you're free to go back, sir. Tell me your name, sir.
Peter Jean Gillis, Your Honor.
All right. You've been charged with 1 count of speeding, 1 count of fleeing from a police officer, 1 count of reckless driving, 1 count of improper passing, 1 count of driving a vehicle without a license, and 1 count of obstruction of an officer. I'm setting a total bond. Hold on, let me count it up.
Yes, Your Honor.
$14,500. Do you believe you can post that bond, sir?
I'm not sure right now.
Okay. The fleeing is a felony charge, so you're gonna have a preliminary hearing date set for April 14th at 8:30 in the morning. And that'll be over Zoom hearing like we're having here today. Do you plan on hiring your own lawyer representing yourself, or do you want me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
See if I qualify.
Okay. Are are you currently employed?
Probably not anymore because I've been here.
Okay. About how much?
I was making $12 an hour.
Okay, so you do qualify. I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you. Do you have any questions?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, you're free to go back.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Zachary Jones.
Okay. Mr. Jones, you've been charged with 1 count of possession of a controlled substance, 1 count of theft by receiving stolen property, and 1 count of possession of a weapon during the commission of a crime. Because there's an indication that you were on probation at the time of your arrest, I can't set a bond on the drug and the possession of a firearm charge. I did set a $2,000 bond on the theft by receiving stolen property. You're gonna have a preliminary hearing date of April 14th, and I'm setting a bond hearing date of April 16th. Do you want me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
Yes, sir.
Okay. You do qualify, Mr. Jones, so I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you. Do you have any questions of me?
Can I be released earlier? Is there any way?
Yes, give me 1 second. My printer is going.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so as I told the other people that were in your position, it's something that you can bond out on this or get a bond on this, but I just can't do it at this stage. And it's because of the probation issue. So they want to make sure that you're not in a situation where your probation officer wants to revoke your probation and you're already bonded out and gone. So I've appointed a lawyer. The lawyer can work both sides with the probation officer and with the district attorney's office, and they may consent to your getting out. If so, judge sign the order and you'll be out.
Yes, sir.
Okay, any other questions?
No, sir.
Okay, you're free to go back, Mr. Jones.
Okay.
Before you more.
Mr. Moore, you've been charged with violation of Georgia seatbelt law, possession of marijuana less than an ounce, violation of Georgia Controlled Substance Act, and possession of a weapon during the commission of a crime. The last 2 offenses are felonies. I've set the bond at $5,000 apiece for felony charges, $1,500 for the marijuana charge, and $500 for the violation of Georgia seatbelt law. So that's a total bond of $12,000. Do you believe you can post that bond?
Yes, sir.
Okay. You're gonna have a preliminary hearing date set for April 14th at 8:30 in the morning, but that date will get waived upon your bonding out and you'll receive a new court date in the mail. Do you want me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
Oh, yes, sir.
Okay. You do qualify, Mr. Moore. I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you. Do you have any questions for me?
No, sir.
Okay, you're free to go back.
Yes.
John Naeem.
Sorry, what was the last name?
Naeem or John?
Okay. Okay, Mr. John, you've been charged with 1 count of aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. I cannot set a bond for this offense at this stage, but I put a stay away provision on this, just to provide notice to stay away from James Mituline, Mitulein. I've set a bond hearing date for April 16th and a preliminary hearing date for April 14th. Would you like for me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
Yes, sir. I can't write it down.
They give it to you. That's what I got.
How much do you make per hour, Mr. John?
Me, 10 to 15.
Okay, you do qualify. I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you. Do you have any questions of me?
No, not at the moment.
Okay, you're free to go back.
All right.
Next. You have to ask them right there. Hold it down, yeah.
What was the last name, sir?
Owens.
Mr. Owens, you're charged with 1 count of violating Georgia Controlled Substance Act. That's a felony. 1 count of possession of marijuana less than an ounce, and 1 count of crossing the guard line with contraband. And that's a felony, as well as the violation of Georgia Controlled Substance Act. Setting bond on all 3 of these offenses. You're gonna have a total bond of $16,500. Do you believe you can pay that bond?
Yeah.
Okay. You're gonna have a preliminary hearing date of April 14th, but that date will get waived upon bonding out. Do you want me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
Yes, sir.
You do qualify, Mr. Owens. I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you. Do you have any questions?
No, sir.
Okay, you're free to go back.
Isaiah McLaughlin.
Mr. McLaughlin, you are charged with 1 count of having a brake light out. The bond is set at $500 for that. And you're charged with 1 count of possession of firearm by a convicted felon. And I cannot set a bond for that at this stage because there's an indication that you are on probation from a conviction in 2017. I'm setting a preliminary hearing date for April 14th. And I'm setting a bond hearing date for April 16th. Would you like for me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
Yes, sir.
Okay. You do qualify, Mr. McLaughlin. I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you. Do you have any questions of me?
No, sir. You said 14th and the 16th?
Yes, sir. But as I told the other people, because of the indication of being on probation, that's the reason I can't set a bond at this stage, but it doesn't mean it can't be consented to by the district attorney's office.
Okay.
All right. Any other questions?
No, sir.
Okay, you're free to go back.
Jason Sherman.
Mr. Sherman, you've been charged with 1 count of aggravated stalking, 1 count of family violence battery, and 1 count of cruelty to children. I cannot set a bond on the aggravated stalking charge at this stage. I'm prohibited by law from doing that. I did set a bond on the family violence battery at $5,000 and a cruelty to children at $5,000. I put a stay away provision on the bond order to stay away from Woodline Mom Premier, looks like is the name.
Yes, Mom Premier, my wife.
Okay. You're gonna have a preliminary hearing date set for April 14th at 8:30 in the morning. You're gonna also have a bond hearing date set for April 16th. Would you like for me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
Yes.
You do qualify. I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you. Do you have any questions of me?
How do I go about finding a way to make those bonds before that time?
Because this charge is one that has to be set by a Superior Court judge or a judge sitting as a Superior Court judge, your lawyer can either get a hearing date, or the lawyer can see if the district attorney's office will consent to a bond. If they consent to a bond, then they'll just present the judge with an order and the judge will sign it. Any other questions? Okay, you're free to go back, Mr. Sherman.
How you doing?
Good afternoon.
Baron Strickland.
Mr. Strickland.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Mr. Strickland, you have four driving related offenses. Speeding, the bond is $500. Reckless driving, the bond is $1,500. Improper lane change, the bond is $500. And driving on a suspended license, the bond is $1,500. That's a total bond of $4,000. Do you believe that?
I believe the bond was paid last night around 9 o'clock.
Okay. These are all set by schedule, so that's probably what happened. So what'll happen to you is once you go back down there, this paperwork will get processed and then you'll get released. And that'll happen today.
Okay.
Okay. You're gonna have a preliminary hearing date set for April 13th, but that date will get waived upon your bonding out. Do you plan on hiring your own lawyer, representing yourself, or do you want me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
No, I can represent myself.
Okay. If you don't have any questions of me, Mr. Strickland, you're free to go back.
Okay, thank you so much.
You're welcome. Have your name, sir?
Good afternoon, Your Honor. Michael Snow.
Good afternoon, Mr. Smith.
Snow, S-N-O-W. I'm sorry.
Oh, Snow, okay. Good, that was looking me in the face. So, Mr. Snow, you've been charged with running a red light, the bond is set at $500, obstructing an officer, and possession of marijuana less than an ounce. And the bond is going to be $1,500 for each count. So that's a total bond of $3,500. Do you believe you can post that bond?
Sir, it was not a red light. It was my tail light was out. That's what it was on my paperwork.
You're right. You're right. So just so you know, on the warrant is written as brake light violation, and on the bond order is written as red light violation. But what is on the order, bond order, I'm sorry, the warrant will supersede as the charge. Okay.
Okay.
Yes,
sir.
You're gonna have a preliminary hearing date set for April 13th.
So I'm sorry, sir. I had a warrant for my arrest?
Hold on one second. You're gonna have a preliminary hearing date set for April 13th at 8:30 in the morning. That date is gonna get waived upon your bonding out. So when I say warrant, there are two types of warrants. There are warrantless arrest affidavits, and that's what you have. And then criminal warrants, where a detective comes to a judge and says, I want to have this person arrested. So the type of warrant that was issued for you is a warrantless arrest affidavit, which means that you encountered a police officer on the road and the officer arrested you.
I appreciate you educating me about that. Thank you.
Okay, no problem. Would you like to qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. You do qualify, Mr. Snow. I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you. Do you have any questions?
Will I be released today if bond is posted as soon as possible?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. I have no
You're
questions.
welcome. Goodbye. I'm sorry. You're free to go back.
Thank you. Gerard Watts.
Okay, Mr. Watts, you're charged with battery against a pregnant female. I am not allowed to set a bond on this charge at this time because there's an indication that you are on probation. So you're going to be in the same boat as the other people. This is something that can get dealt with before your next hearing date, but it's just something that I can't do at this hearing right here. You're going to have a preliminary hearing date set for April 13th at 8:30 in the morning. Would you like for me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
Yes, how I get it handled before April 13th?
The lawyer can contact the solicitor's office and negotiate with them a bond. And it'll be what's called a consent bond, meaning it's something that they agree to, the lawyer, your lawyer and the prosecutor, and then they present the order to a judge for the judge to sign.
And that usually take how long? A couple weeks or something?
I mean, it honestly, it could take up until the 13th or something that could be done before the week is out. I don't know. It's just, it's between you, your lawyer, and the solicitor. Any other questions?
No, sir.
Okay, you are free to go back.
You set me up for a court reporter order?
Yes, sir, I did. I'm sorry, I did appoint a lawyer. Okay.
Williams?
Mr. Williams, you're also in the position where there's an indication that you were on probation. So I can't set a bond on this charge at this stage.
What I got?
I'm sorry?
What charges I got?
Possession of firearm by a convicted felon. That's the only charge. Yes, sir.
So I got locked up with my girlfriend, right? Crystal Chandler. And the firearm is in her name, and the firearm was found on her. So I'm trying to figure out how I get charged with a firearm that was in her possession.
If it was in her possession, this charge would most likely be dismissed.
Yes, because she bought the firearm from Moss Pond on Old Dixie Highway.
Okay. It's something that I can't weigh that now. All I could do is appoint a lawyer to you so the lawyer can get these charges dropped. But this is not like a point where we determine whether you are guilty or innocent.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So do you want me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
Yes, sir. Because the firearm she bought the firearm off it's a G2C, a generation 2C. Taurus Bullhead. She bought it from off the internet and they shipped it to Moss Pond on Old Dixie Highway.
Okay.
Yeah, when we was in the police car, one of the U.S. Marshals came to one of the sheriff that I was sitting in the police car with, and he ran the serial numbers on the gun and told him that the gun was stolen, and she told him that the guns were hers, but they just wanted to charge me with them because they ain't find nothing in the house or nothing like that where they can put an extra charge on me. But they just couldn't do nothing but really just say violation of probation. But one of the U.S. Marshals was determined to like charge me with the gun after my girl told her it was her gun. Like he was just determined to do it.
Okay. Well, I mean, based upon that, these charges may get dismissed. But I've set a preliminary hearing date for April 14th. I've set a bond hearing date for April 16th. And I have appointed a lawyer to represent you.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. Do you have any other questions of me, Mr. Williams?
No, sir, I'm good.
Okay, you're free to go back.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Good morning, I'm Jermaine Bagley.
Okay.
The last one.
So I still haven't gotten your 2 warrants. Let me ask you this.
I was charged with it this morning, Your Honor. I didn't understand. I've been here since December 9th, and I just got charged with these new charges this morning. I have a paid attorney.
Who's your lawyer?
Shannon Render.
Shannon Render.
I've already had a preliminary and my first bond hearing, but I know under normal circumstances, I would have, because I've been here since December, I would have already had it for these charges as well.
Okay. What I'm going to do, are you still here under no bond?
Yes, Shannon Render was actually about to have me go back in front of court for another bond hearing.
Okay.
And he was supposed to come see me sometime this week. I haven't been able to contact him because they've been having some security issues with some other inmates at the jail. So they put everybody in my whole zone on lockdown for 30 days. So I'm not able to use a phone and contact my family. We're not able to use a kiosk. I can't even to send him a message, or I can't even study the law while I'm here myself. So, it's really hard right now, Your Honor.
Okay. What I'm going to do, Mr. Bagley, do you have something where you can write this information down?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so the 2 warrant numbers for you right now, for these 2 new, and it says it's just 2 drug charges, but it's Georgia does what they call VGCSA, so it could be anything, and I don't know what it is because all I have is the charge and warrant number. So the warrant number.
I was told this morning what it was because they re-fingerprinted me. They told me one was a possession of marijuana, VGCSA, and the other one was a Schedule 2.
Okay.
I'm not sure if the marijuana is a Schedule 2 or not. I don't know anything about either one of them, but that's what I was told this morning when I went to go get fingerprinted again.
The Schedule 2 may be pills or something like that. So what I'm going to do, let me give you these 2 warrant numbers.
Okay.
2021.
All right.
CW.
Yes, sir.
50991.
Okay.
And the second one is 2021 CW.
All right.
50992.
Okay.
So I'm going to be sitting as a judge tomorrow, and so I'm going to do an order to have you brought back tomorrow.
Okay.
And so we'll deal with it then, because if you said that the warrants were issued today, there could be where it just hadn't gotten to where it needs to go in order for us to be able to have your hearing.
Okay. Well, because like I said, Your Honor, they got the jail on lockdown. I'm not able to contact my family or my lawyer to notify him of this. And I would really like for him to be at my court appearance. Is there anything that I can do about that?
Spell your lawyer's last name.
R-E-N-D-E-R.
Okay. And the first name is?
Shannon, S-H-A-N-N-O-N.
Okay.
N-I-N, I'm sorry.
N-I-N. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll do an order to have you brought back over for tomorrow, and I'll see if we can get in contact with your lawyer to let the lawyer know that you have these 2 new charges.
Okay, thank you, Your Honor.
And we'll try to figure it out.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm free to go, sir?
Yes, sir, you're free to go.
Judge, I got Jordan up here, sir.
Okay. Mr. Jordan,
Yeah,
you've been charged. How you doing? You've been charged with 2 misdemeanor offenses. One is carrying a weapon concealed without a license. The bond is automatically set at $5,000 for that. And the second charge is possession of marijuana less than an ounce. The bond is automatically set at $1,500. So you have a total bond of $6,500. Do you believe you can post that bond?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. Would you like for me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
Yes, sir, Your Honor.
Okay. Mr. Jordan, are you currently working?
Yes, Your Honor.
About how much do you make per hour?
$13.50.
Okay, you do qualify, Mr. Jordan. I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you. You're going to have a preliminary hearing date that's going to be set for April 13th, but that date is going to get waived upon your bonding out, and you will get a new court date in the mail. Do you have any questions of me?
Probation and not an option?
I'm sorry?
Was probation not an option?
Well, not at this stage, because I'm not here to determine whether you're guilty or innocent. I'm just here to make sure you get a lawyer and set you some new court dates so that your lawyer can work your case. So probation is an option on these charges. I don't see there's anything that is especially bad about this.
Okay, so am I able to make a phone call and see what the next step should be?
Yes, they will allow you to make a phone call, but it's not going to be like we get off this Zoom call and then you're automatically going to get a phone or access to a phone. So you'll get the access to a phone, but it's going to be as it relates to what the Sheriff's Department's policies are. Okay, any other questions?
No, sir.
Okay, you're free to go back, Mr. Jordan. Tell me your name, sir. Okay. Mr. Johnson, you've been charged with 1 count of simple battery. There's an indication that you're still on probation. And so I can't set a bond for this offense at this stage. But I've set a preliminary hearing date for April 13th. Do you want me to see if you qualify for the appointment of a lawyer?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Mr. Johnson, are you currently employed? I'm sorry?
No, sir.
Okay, so you qualify, Mr. Johnson. I'm going to appoint a lawyer to represent you. Now, this offense is a misdemeanor offense, which normally means that you would get a bond, but because you're still on probation, I can't set a bond for this offense at this stage. It doesn't mean the lawyer can't get you a bond through speaking to the solicitor's office. Okay? Do you have any questions of me?
No, sir.
Okay, you're free to go back, Mr. Johnson.
That's it, Your Honor?
Yes, I just want to make sure, because I got some people that I believe they're all probably OTB, but I just want to make sure. The first one I have is Thaddeus Childs.
Charles.
Yes, Childs. He had a window tint violation and possession of marijuana less than an ounce.
I already probably pick on him. What's the next one?
The next one, try to do them in order. Malik Davis. He's, oh, no, yeah. Malik Davis, driving unlicensed, distracted driver.
Yeah, he's OTB.
Okay. Let's see. I have D'Antonio McMullen. He's OTB. He's on the list as OTB.
Yes.
Okay. I got Justin Allen Sykes. He's listed as OTB. Let's see. So the only one that I don't know is Thaddeus Childs.
Your Honor, he left. He's OTB.
Okay. All right. Well, that concludes my business. Thank you. You have a good day.
All right, you too, Your Honor.
Ms. Adamson, I'm going to give you a call. All right. Thank you.